Stephanie next. Lebanon, Missouri, listening on the web. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Hank. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I had a question about Satan and what exactly he is, because in my Bible study this past week, this one woman insisted that he was not a fallen angel, that God had created him evil because angels did not have free will. And I had never heard that before, and it troubled me that God could create something evil.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dead wrong. God is not the author of evil. Certainly God created the potential for evil by giving both angels and humans freedom of choice. And we actualize that evil just as Satan did by his choice. Yes, he was an anointed cherub. He was an angel. In fact, we might say the foremost of the angels, but he wanted worship for himself as opposed to be an instrument of worship to God. And by the way, not only angels, but humans were created to worship God. And we don't find our fulfillment apart from that worship of God. If we're designed to do that very thing and we don't do that, then we fall into the very rut of what we were not created for. And Satan did that very thing. He actualized evil by turning against the worship of God and claiming worship for himself. Thus he became a fallen angel, the chief of those who are fallen as angels.
That's what I'd always been taught, but I realized I didn't know where in the Bible to find that. Do you have any scripture references about Satan?
Well, absolutely. In fact, if you look at the notion of Satan, what you're going to find is that this is, I would say, a paradigm within Scripture. Scripture uses many times the word Satan, prince of darkness, god of this world, deceiver, liar, tempter. And in the Old Testament, you see that Satan caused the fall of Adam and therefore of humanity. The appearance of a serpent was used to explain just how evil and decrepit he had become. Now, when the Bible uses monikers like serpent or dragon, what's being communicated is not what Satan looks like, of course, but what Satan is like. Furthermore, as you go on through the Bible and you get to the book of Job, you see Satan is before God among the sons of God. And in Zechariah 3, the Lord rebukes Satan. So throughout the Bible, you see Satan being depicted as not only the one who was created for worship and then fell, but you see him as the tempter of God's people. And therefore, what happens as the Bible unfolds is we see that there is going to be a time in which sin and Satan will forever be dispensed with. Also, I think that it's really interesting to look at how the dragon is a personification of Satan, not only in the Psalms, but also a personification of Satan in Isaiah and the like.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you very much. I didn't think that sounded right, but I realized I didn't know where to look.
Well, one of the things I would do is look at the literary progression in the book of Job, which moves from creation to creatures to the cherub, the anointed cherub or Satan, who once ranked first in the order of God's creation, and to Job, the primal monster of the land, like the primal monster of the sea, was indomitable. To Jehovah, Behemoth and Leviathan were mere pets on a divine leash. So in the literary progression of the Bible that I was just talking about, the monster is vanquished. And that's why Isaiah can say, Leviathan, the gliding serpent, Leviathan, the coiling serpent, God will slay the monster of the sea. So again, in interpreting Scripture in light of Scripture, the literary personification of Satan becomes readily apparent.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it. By the way, in Genesis, he is presented as an alluring serpent, as I just mentioned. He tempts humanity to fall into lies of perpetual sin, terminated by death. In Psalms, he's portrayed as a multi-headed monster opposing the purposes of God. In Isaiah, he's a coiling serpent emerging out of the primal waters. And Of course, in Revelation, he's a red dragon that personifies the extremities of evil. So Leviathan and Behemoth that I just spoke about in the book of Job are not dinosaurs, as some suppose, but personifications that illustrate a metaphysical reality, and therefore the mythology of the dragon serves to underscore the reality of the devil. Much more could be said. I've written about that in various places, in fact, including the Creation Answer book.